Thanks for staying with Centre Stage. The Indian film fraternity has come out in full solid support of actor Deepika after she took on a leading English newspaper group for posting a picture of her from an awkward angle. The publication refused to apologize. Instead, it said it was paying the award-winning actor a compliment. But the fraternity at large is gushing only in anger.
Deepika Padukone might be a picture of calm, but a very strong head rests on her slender shoulders. When you mess with her, she's ready to put out a tough battle. She recently slammed a leading daily on her Twitter handle for running a photo of her with the caption, "Oh my God, Deepika Padukone's cleavage show." Standing up for herself, Deepika tweeted, "Yes, I'm a woman. I have breasts and a cleavage. You got a problem?" Fans and colleagues have rallied to her side.
I'm glad she took a stand on behalf of all of us. And थोड़ी इज्जत देने में कुछ नहीं जाता. So what if we're actresses? And I stand by what she said.
But if she's felt offended about some picture of hers that's posted, she has every right to feel offended.
Very angry. I was very infuriated. और मुझे समझ में नहीं आया कि what I wanted to do something very drastic because it is just appalling and very sad.
You know, I think the most important quality that any human being, whether they're an actor or a journalist, that they should have is respect for the other person and respect for themselves.
This said footage was shot last year at the trailer launch of Deepika and Shah Rukh Khan's blockbuster Chennai Express. Reactions have been pouring in. Some took to Twitter to show their support for the brave young star who's fighting her own battle. Jacqueline Fernandez, Baman Irani, Karan Johar, Ranveer Singh and others applauded Deepika for standing up for herself. In a bid to damage control, the Daily posted a tweet on Deepika's Twitter feed on Monday morning. With Roshni Agarwal in Mumbai, Garima Khurana, headlines today.
Well, a day after lashing out at the media group on Twitter, Deepika Padukone said that she has said what she had to on the matter, but at an event to promote their upcoming film, actor Shah Rukh Khan came out in full support of his co-star.
The occasion was the music launch of Farah Khan's Happy New Year. But all eyes were on Deepika Padukone, the lady who has held her head high and is fighting her own battle. Deepika's tweet against a leading daily with regards to a story on her has won a lot of support from Bollywood. While Deepika refrained to speak more about it, the Happy New Year clan, SRK especially, expressed that they stand by her.
I think I've said what I've had to say, and I think everything else will be taken care of.
I think what she said is wonderful. It's fantastic. We all believe in it. Maybe we all the men here, and I speak for all of us, Vivan, Baman sir, myself, Abhishek and Sonu, maybe we've not had the guts to do what she's done, but we believe in it and we support it. I mean, it's stupid of us to even sit down here and talk about we stand by it. We have to stand by it.
Kudos to Team Happy New Year in Mumbai's Sakhi Deshpande for headlines today.
Well, Bollywood has unanimously rushed to the defense of actor Deepika Padukone, who was caught in that controversy after her images from a questionable angle surfaced on the Twitter handle of an English newspaper. While the anguish was apparently understandable, questions are being raised about whether the entire event was an elaborate public relations stunt. Is Tinseltown, which has been mum on past transgressions of this kind, indulging in selective outrage?
In her quest to find Fanny, Deepika Padukone has found controversy instead. She may be the undisputed hit express of Bollywood, one of the most photographed faces in the film industry. But a photograph shot from an awkward angle at this event more than a year ago, with the caption, "OMG, Deepika Padukone's cleavage show," has provoked an angry backlash from the usually reticent actor, who first retweeted the offensive link and then posted a series of furious tweets attacking the leading English daily. But the publication remained unfazed and escalated matters by suggesting that the obvious objectification of the actress's body was in fact a compliment.
Very angry. I was very infuriated. और मुझे समझ में नहीं आया कि what I wanted to do something very drastic because it is just appalling and very sad that a publication which is so renowned and respectable does something like this has got to change.
Deepika's friends and colleagues in the industry have backed her to the hilt.
On behalf of all of us, and I hope कि अब ये बात मैं पहले भी कहती आई हूँ कि मीडिया अगर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के साथ हमारे बारे में भी लिखे, ये जान के कि हम भी लड़कियाँ हैं, हम भी किसी की बेटी हैं, किसी की बहन है, किसी की फ्रेंड है, एंड थोड़ी इज्जत देने में कुछ नहीं जाता. So what if we're actresses? And I stand by what she's did.
The actor garnered a thunderous online response with the hashtag #IStandWithDeepika Padukone trending at the #1 spot.
I have to say what she's done is awesome, and I think the most important quality that any human being, whether they're an actor or a journalist, that they should have is respect for the other person and respect for themselves.
Her outrage, tweeted from the official Finding Fanny Twitter handle, however, has many critics and naysayers questioning if the entire episode was a publicity stunt. This invasion of privacy or objectification is not limited to Bollywood alone, with hackers releasing private photos of movie stars, many of whom have now sought an FBI investigation against the culprits. Closer home, however, the new generation of actresses appear unstoppable. Some would say misogyny has finally met its match. Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
For the film fraternity, journalists, celebrities, they've all rallied around Deepika Padukone versus this newspaper that put out a tweet that said, "Oh my God, look at Deepika Padukone's cleavage." She responded with a series of tweets, and what has followed over the last 24 hours has been near unanimous support. But there have been some sections in the media and otherwise who've said, sure, she has a right to call out someone who says something offensive about her, even though she's an actress, but that there is a measure of hypocrisy in all of the arguments being made. Joining me live now, filmmaker Ashok Pandit is live with me from Mumbai. Welcome, Ashok. Also with me is Shaina NC of the BJP, but here in her capacity as a fashion designer and a prominent personality who has a view on issues and women's issues especially. Shaina, I'd like to come to you first. Huge amount of support for Deepika Padukone, for tweeting against this particular newspaper and basically making it really, really clear that, the message was, I can wear a bikini if I like. I'm an actor. I can do what I like. But that does not, rid me of the right to call out nonsense and call out offensive stuff that's written against me. Do you agree with that, Shaina?
Absolutely, because objectification is no kind of a compliment, and one needs to understand that it's not all right. Very many times people think that, if certain person comes from the Bollywood fraternity or the glamour industry, oh, they're anyway revealing, so what's the big deal? There is a big deal. This is your private space which you are intruding on, and to suggest that, everything that you choose to use in your publication for your own TRPs is going to be fine with any woman and her dignity, it's not fine. And I'm so glad that so many people have championed around her. Because if she's choosing to do a role in a movie, it is entirely her prerogative, her creative space or freedom. But this down market kind of thing to suggest that, oh, look at Deepika Padukone's cleavage is clearly not on. We've been fighting this forever. That why do men, or for that matter society at large, have to constantly objectify women, where they treat them as if this is an object, and especially if she's an actress and if she's from the glamour industry, it's perfectly all right. If she wears something revealing, she should be okay with this kind of good publicity, bad publicity. But it's not all right. And I think that she's shown guts. She's chosen not to speak on the statement over and above what she's had to say, which also shows a certain kind of dignity. And I think it's important for women like her to speak up and say, perverts in society, you can't be ogling at my body.
All right, Ashok Pandit, huge amount of support for Deepika Padukone. The relationship between big media, the film industry, actors, actresses, is a well-known one. It leads to a lot of speculation, about the incestuous nature of the industry, the synergies at play here. But is this a black and white issue, Ashok Pandit, or do you think there are some hypocrisies at play here?
Shiv, at the outset, I want to salute Deepika Padukone for giving it back in the right perspective. It's a compliment to her. Now, coming to this issue, Deepika Padukone is not an issue. On one side, the media talks about women empowerment, they talk about women's dignity, they talk about, they criticize the politicians who have issued statements,
yes,
where they talk about the costumes of the women, the clothes of the women, and they have described women in a very, very shabby way.
Okay.
And it's the media which has blasted them. So now when it comes from the media itself, one doesn't know, is it a hypocrisy of the media or this is what the media believes in? So coming from the media is what is bizarre, and it's more thoughtful. We have to think where we are heading to. So whatever they have criticized the politicians and other people, describing women in this way, was it a hypocrisy or do they believe in giving the dignity to the woman? That's my concern.
Shaina, do you believe that this could be some kind of an inflection point, between the in the relationship between media and celebrities? I mean, it's there have been several occasions in the past when there have been sort of problems. There has been friction. There has been anger. Is this an important enough issue for it to be an inflection point between two sort of sides that are largely and publicly seen to be needing each other all the time?
No, look at it this way. There are two ways of viewing this. First, Deepika Padukone clearly does not need any kind of publicity.
Yes.
She is a star in her own right and she's done phenomenally well, etc., etc. So I don't think she would be interested in ticking off somebody from the media just to make her point.
Yes.
That's not the point. I think that she clearly has felt bad about this, and that's a good sign that you have people in Bollywood who are concerned about their own dignity and dignity of women per se. And that's the reason she chose to speak up.
Yes.
The kind of support she has generated, of course, is unprecedented. Maybe it's because it's her. But what I think is worth complimenting is she hasn't dragged this beyond a point. She said what she had to say, and then she said that this is what I had to say and I've said it, and that's it. And she's kept quiet beyond. Sometimes people drag it to the point of no return. So I don't think the media would ever write her off or discriminate because she's raised her voice. If at all, I think that we're very, very partial to the media sometimes, and we're not in a position to take on the media in many circumstances. And I think that sometimes if there is a legitimate claim, it is the moral responsibility of the media also to accept that yes, they have faltered and they are apologetic for it. The apology or the clarification that came on Twitter was hardly a compliment. It was suggesting that you have a lovely body and we wanted to show your body to the world. That is not an apology. If at all, it's an insult. It's adding injury to the insult. So I think that public reaction is very, very welcoming. We keep talking about the mindset of Indian men, but I think there's a mindset in the media also which needs to understand that Bollywood may be a glamorous profession, but to dignity of a woman is something which needs to be protected. The sanctity needs to be remained protected, and it's important for celebrities to also take on issues which could be the issue of any odd woman who's traveling in a train or in a bus or bending to pick up a paper.
I want to ask both of you, there were a couple of tweets about this particular issue yesterday, where several people claimed that anyone, having taking exception to Deepika having such a harsh view on these tweets, especially since she, poses for calendars or, poses in bikinis, it's tantamount to saying that if you wear short clothes, then you're inviting rape. It's precisely the same thing. Ashok, do you agree?
No, it's all in your mind.
Yeah.
If you're a pervert, you think on those lines. So whether you are wearing a bikini or whether you are wearing a sari doesn't make any difference. If I'm pervert, I will think in a similar way when I see a woman in a sari. So it's there in your mind. And let us understand one thing. It's cinema, it's entertainment industry. Let the industry decide what is right and what is wrong. And we know our responsibilities. The makers know our responsibilities. Our actors know how to live with dignity. What is the right message which has to go across? It's high time that we start describing the anatomy of a woman. This is not right. We have been fighting this. We have been making films against it. There is an uproar. The entire industry rises up against rapes and against issues, demeaning the woman's dignity. But it's not Deepika particularly only. It can be any actress, it can be Shalin Chopra, it can be any woman on the street. You know, we have mothers and sisters in our house also.
Right.
So that journalist who has mentioned this about Deepika should also know that she has a mother and a sister in her house. Or
it's a larger message. It's definitely a larger message, but it has led to 100 other questions about what happens now. What does this change the relationship between celebrities and media? Have certain lines been blurred because of what we see on TV? Is that even an excuse to say things that the object of your tweet might find actually offensive? Hundreds of questions that have been spawned by this particular debate. One thing I can tell you for sure is this is not by any stretch of imagination a trivial debate. What has happened is something that is very serious, and the media itself perhaps needs to take some responsibility and introspect on what those blurred lines really mean. China NC Ashok Pandit, thank you very much for joining us on this short debate on the Deepika Padukone controversy.